Okay, good afternoon. It looks like it's 3:01, so we're going to proceed with the public hearing. Hello, everyone. My name is Joe Carroll. I'm the Grants Management Consultant for the City of Rowlett, and we also have Susan Nix, who is with the city's Community Development Partner on the line also. What we're doing today is conducting a public hearing to discuss the city's federal grant funds. And the purpose of the hearing, of course, is to obtain citizen input. You can go to the next slide, please. So what we're here to talk about is the federal HUD grant. It's called Community Development Block Grant Funding, or CDBG. Now, these funds come to the city in the form of an annual formula grant allocation, meaning that the city does not have to apply for the funds each year, but they receive the funds based on certain demographic features in the city. The monies can be used for a variety of eligible activities, and we're going to talk a little bit more about that in just a minute. Okay.
Next slide.
The funds have to be used to meet at least one of HUD's 3 national objectives. The first one would be that the funds would either have to directly assist low-income persons, and that's defined as households that earn less than 80% of the area's median income, and no less than 70% of the funds have to be used in this way. Or the funds have to be used to eliminate slum and blight. This would be like demolition activities or code enforcement activities, or the funds have to be used to meet an urgent community need, such as a disaster relief program. Okay? This slide shows the income levels for households that would be eligible to participate in the city's programs based on the Dallas statistical area's median family income, which is $86,200. The figures on the right column show the 80th percentile of income based on household size. So for instance, a household size of one person could make up to $48,350 each year. A household size that had 4 members can make $68,950 each year in order to be eligible. Okay. This slide shows just some information. It shows the range of incomes in Rowlett. You can see that the largest percentile, 22.5% of households in Rowlett will make annual incomes of between $100,000 to $150,000. The second one being the second largest group would be 18.4%, with households making between $50,000 and $75,000. Okay. So HUD stipulates that there are certain caps for how you can spend the funds. For administration purposes, you can only spend up to 20% of the grant for management of the activities. You can only spend up to 15% of the grant for what we call public services or health and human services. Now, with the COVID pandemic, HUD has relaxed this 15% cap, and it would allow the city to spend more than 15% if it desired. But the remaining amount of the grant, which would be a minimum of 65%, can be spent for other eligible activities. Okay. Public services, which has the 15% cap, can be used for their operating expenses for programs or services, or maybe nonprofit organizations that provide this list of services, everything from employment and job training, public safety, services for special needs populations like senior citizens and the homeless, crime prevention, child care for low-income families, health care, drug abuse, counseling, any type of educational services, maybe for at-risk children, recreational services for maybe children that are located or living in a low-income neighborhood, and then also homebuyer education counseling. The other eligible activities that the grant can be used for would include in a low-income area if there were repairs or purchases or construction of public facilities, and that's defined as streets, parks, water and sewer improvements, drainage, curbs and gutters, shelters or maybe community centers, and parking and sidewalks. Other activities would be related to housing rehabilitation or reconstruction, home buyers assistance, demolition of dilapidated structures, code enforcement, and this is for like maybe community appearance standards in low-income areas. This slide shows just some selected demographics related to population and income, just to show some comparisons back to the last 5-year plan that was completed in 2016. You can see that the city's had some population growth, close to 10,000 more residents since 2016. You can also see the racial breakdown between white, African American, other races, and those of Hispanic origin. Not really much change there. You can see that the population that is over age 65 has actually grown from 7.6% 5 years ago to around 11% today. There's been some growth in the number of households in the city. And then also, of course, the median family income has increased somewhat. But also the percentage of low-income households, and that's again defined as households that earn less than 80% of the area's median income, has risen by almost 8 percentage points from 5 years ago. The population below the poverty line, which is the extremely low income, this is more families that whose only income may only be Social Security or something of that nature, has risen slightly from 4.5% to 6.6%. These are housing demographics, just sort of an FYI. It's part of the market analysis that we conduct for the plan. You can see that the age of the housing here in Rowlett, that 68% is built between 1970 and 1999, and 28% has been built since 2000. Only 3.7% was built before 1969, which is a very good thing for the city in regards to that the city's housing stock is not that old. It would indicate that most of the housing stock would be in fairly good condition. The median existing home value of the homes that have sold in 2020 is $252,590 as compared to 5 years ago where it was $157,700. So it has risen quite a bit. In terms of the size of the housing, you can see that only about 6% are small homes with 2 bedrooms or less in the home. Almost 50% are 3 bedrooms, and the remaining about 43% are 4 bedrooms, 5 bedrooms or larger. The renter vacancy rate is 3.4%, which is down a little bit from the 2016 rate of 5.1%. So HUD actually has national goals when it comes to the community development block grant funding, and they're looking to what they call develop viable urban communities by providing decent housing, suitable living environments, and economic opportunities. Okay. Rowlett has made the decision to follow along with HUD's proposed goals and setting our proposed objective number 1 for the next 5 years as being decent housing. This would mean preserving and expanding housing quality, affordability, and accessibility for low and moderate income households. And to implement this, what we would be doing would be to distribute fair housing information. We want to educate the public and provide additional information to them regarding fair housing to increase their accessibility to rental and to purchase housing. We'd also want to encourage affordable housing opportunities for low-income homebuyers or renters, and then also support efforts to meet code, health, and safety standards in owner-occupied housing. Okay. The second proposed objective would be to provide suitable living environments, and this would be done by encouraging reinvestment in low and moderate income neighborhoods through the delivery of health and human services that encourage self-sufficiency and reduce poverty, and then also to improve public facilities that provide safe, secure, and healthy environments for low-income, homeless, and populations with special needs. And we do this by increasing accessibility to those programs and services such as nonprofit organizations that improve quality of life and directly assist low-income or other special need populations. And we do this also by providing funding in low-income neighborhoods to make improvements to streets, parks, water, sewage, drainage, and other infrastructure in low-income neighborhoods. And finally, the last proposed objective, number 3, is to provide expanded economic opportunities. This would be to encourage the development and delivery of activities that maintain or increase economic and employment stability, educational and job training opportunities, and reduce poverty. And we want to do this by increasing access to employment opportunities for low-income households. Typically, this means that the city works closely with various economic development groups and foundations to provide funding and support for business development activities that encourage businesses to locate in Rowlett and therefore, increase the opportunity for employment. This map shows the eligible census tracts in the city. If you look at the gold shaded areas, based on census information, those are the areas of town where more than 50% of the residents are considered what HUD considers low income. This would mean that streets and parks and various other activities of that nature that are located in this area would be eligible to receive funding. Okay. So for this next coming year, the city of Rowlett is going to be receiving $273,733 in HUD CDBG funds. And this will show the proposed budget for this fund. We're looking at the cap of 20% for administration, the cap of 15% for public services, and the remainder of the grant money, the $177,928, to go into improvements to public facilities that would be located in low-income neighborhoods of the city. So just to recap, the purpose of today's public hearing was to receive citizen comment and input on plans and the proposed use of funds. To provide comment, you can contact Susan Nix at the city's Community Development Department no later than 5 p.m. July 31st, and you can email her at snix, that's snix @rowlett.com. You can call at 972-463-3927, or you can mail her at 5702 Rowlett Road, Rowlett, Texas, 75089. So what's next is to complete a second and final public hearing in a couple of weeks, and then to obtain council approval on August the 4th, and then to deliver the 5-year consolidated plan and the annual action plan to HUD no later than August the 16th of 2020. So with this, we're going to close out the public hearing. And again, Laura, if we could go back, can we show that slide that has the way to contact Susan again, please? I think one up. Again, you'll see on the screen on how to provide public input and comment. Please take note of that, and we hope and encourage you to participate in this public hearing and provide comment. So,
and we have no callers on the line today.
All right. Thank you very much. We're going to close this public hearing. Thank you for attending.